Generative cultures, also called high-reliability organizations, are hard to find, although many of us experience one frequently. Air traffic control ensures we reach our destination safely every time we fly, despite the enormous potential for disaster every time an aircraft moves. Last year, the FAA had 67 million commercial aircraft movements from major airfields, without a single accident. What is a good day for ATC? It's a day where nothing happens. No accidents, no near misses, no complaints, everybody on time and happy, despite the crossfire between providing capacity, getting flights to leave and land on time, to managing the expectations of the public for noise and pollution. How do they do it? They live in a world of chronic unease, dedicated to learning and adapting. Because they can't afford to have accidents, they have to throw their resources into understanding their near misses and looking ahead for their shortcomings. It's not what they do well, it's what they could have done better. Another example of a generative culture, also from aviation, is the flight deck operation of a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier can be characterized by a few figures. It displaces more than 80,000 tons. There are about 5,000 crew, many of them young kids out of the inner cities who've never flown in a commercial plane, let alone been for a cruise on a ship before they joined the Navy. The captain has never commanded a carrier before and has an admiral leaning over his shoulder all the time. The ship is full of aircraft, jet fuel, and bombs. And yet, things go admirably well on the flight deck. Despite a very high tempo, planes hardly ever touch each other, even on a crowded deck, and no one gets injured, despite large numbers of hazards from jet exhausts, high-pressure steam, and the presence of high explosives. During operations, events happen too fast for the normal chain of command to work, so the hazards have to be managed by those on the spot. Therefore, they operate in two modes, low and high tempo. Day to day, the ship's officers create situations that allow preparation and learning to take place. In the high-tempo operations mode, control is handed over to those who are on the front line. This is comparable to an industrial environment. Most work is routine and planned, but other times we find ourselves in a firefighting mode, reacting to situations as they happen. What the Carl Vinson has done is to turn the unusual operations into standard ones, with the hazards managed in the best possible ways. How do they do it so well? The answer is an unceasing dedication to getting it right. In the words of a commander of the Naval Aviation Safety School, what they do is plan the heck out of it, and if they don't have enough of that, they train, train, and train again. Everyone is always busy, but they make optimum use out of the routine work, so they're ready for the unexpected. Everyone is not just empowered, but expected to participate together to produce the result. Absolutely anybody can halt operations, and they do. Another generative organization was a coal mine in Australia, which had many of the same properties as air traffic control and the aircraft carrier. Everyone knew exactly what they were accountable for and did it superbly, with safety performance to match. Management and workforce could rely upon one another to perform and support each other. This way of working, their culture, was so ingrained that even though the mine came under new ownership, the same attitudes and effective ways of working continued to produce this quite unusual performance in an industry that usually expects and accepts poor safety performance. In these sorts of generative organizations, things can still go wrong, but instead of looking for people to blame, such organizations actively seek out and learn from their failures. They embrace their errors and use them to get better. Everyone understands the need to identify areas for improvement. Looking at an HSE culture in terms of this maturity ladder provides a route map, where every team or company has a certain level of cultural maturity and can see which rung of the ladder they're on, where they've been, and what the next step looks like. Where is your organisation? Would you like to progress up that ladder, and what will you do to start moving to the next level of maturity?